Slide that away.
Are you here?
Is Carla making an adjustment? Wow, that's great.
Right here for the withdrawn one?
No, for the
The ordinance.
ordinance 3. Ask them to do test 1, 2. Is that a little bit better? Everybody okay out there? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get going. We'll just wait for Carla to come back out. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bristol Town Council meeting of January 15th. If you could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes. We have the town council special meeting minutes, March 18th, March 19th, and March 20th. And we also have the council meeting minutes from December 18th and the town council executive session minutes from December 18th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C1. This is ordinance 2024-19, chapter 11 to fees and charges, and chapter 16 parking violation schedule of the town code. This is modification to the parking fines, violations, and penalties. Second reading.
Make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. Discussion? I do just a couple of quick things. This was researched by the administrator and departments. And we compared other communities, including Warren and Portsmouth, our closest neighbors, and tried to align our parking fees to more closely align the reality out there. And also to, we don't want to give parking fees and fines. We don't want people to park illegally. And sometimes there needs to be a significant reminder, and that's why this is being done. Any other discussion?
No, I think it's a smart ordinance and a good move.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C2. This is ordinance 2024-20, chapter 5 to amusements, article 3, section 5-97. This is restrictions, and this is for a language adjustment for outdoor establishment entertainment. End times on Friday and Saturday to 11 p.m. This is second reading.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second the motion?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion? Again, I'll just take a quick moment. This was to adjust the times to, it was unclear for outdoor entertainment. So we wanted to make it clearer in the ordinance. So that's why there's an adjustment here. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C3. This is ordinance 2024-21 for chapter 17 offenses and miscellaneous provisions. Article 2 for alcoholic beverage establishments, section 17-82. This is the number of licenses, and this is to reduce the number of full liquor licenses from 33 to 32. Second reading.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Discussion?
Just very briefly, obviously, if we reduce it provides an additional license for the future. So it's a great move.
That's right. I feel like I'm explaining all of them tonight. I'm sorry. What used to be Guillory's had a liquor license for quite a while, and it was unused. After X amount of time, we reached out to the establishment and they relinquished the license, but they have an opportunity to come back in front of us if in the future they so choose to do so. So any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C4. This is ordinance 2024-22, Chapter 8, Boats, Docks, and Waterways, Section 855, Transient Anchoring and Anchorages, Section 8-57, Mooring Inspections, Section 8-60, Mooring Permits, Section 8-64, Permitting of Slips at Town Docks, Section 8-66, Additional Requirements for Commercial Mooring Permits, Section 8-70, Permitting of Dinghy Spaces, Section 8-71, Insurance Requirements for Town Marina, Section 8-72, Parking Permits for Dock Holders, Section 8-73, Dock User Agreement, Section 8-74, Dock Mooring Forfeiture, and Section 8-75, Standard of Review for Forfeiture Appeals, second reading.
Motion to approve second reading?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion? So the harbor master is here. As you just heard, there's a lot of changes happening with this. And I asked the harbor master, not only for the council, for the public, to share just a high level of those changes and why we're doing it. Greg?
Good evening. So most of the changes we're doing is dates and giving people more time to pay. Have a little teeth in the game down there when somebody makes a mistake with a fine system. Working on our parking issue we have at the dock. And overall, it's been really accepted. It ran in the paper. We got a lot of phone calls from not just boaters, but the just general public, because they've never seen such a large ordinance change all at once. But we felt it was time and needed. We haven't really adjusted anything the 11 years I've been here. So, but these are all good stuff. It's good for the boating community.
Council concurs. We had a lot of discussion about this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work from not only your office, but from the Harbor Commission to make these amendments and changes. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Council?
I concur, obviously, as we've already said, we do, obviously. Certainly the time comes sometimes that you've got to make some adjustments, and these are due.
It's also going to save, we probably spent around $2,500 in postage on mailing out bills. So that saves taxpayers a little money as well. So that'll help out with the emailing.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Anything else on the council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
The next item on the agenda is D1. This is Elizabeth Harvey from St. Elizabeth's Holy Rosary, 577 Wood Street. This is a request for bingo license on Friday, January 17, 2025, from 5:30 to 10.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion, we approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Is there any discussion? Would you like a 10-second commercial? No commercial requested? You got it. Any other conversation? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Bingo.
The next item on the agenda is E1. This is junk and secondhand license renewals for 2025, 2026.
Based on the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F1, George Berman, 66 Highland Avenue, Highlands Road, Chairman of the Second Wind Foundation, for consideration of allocating an annual nonprofit dock slip at the Town Marina for Second Wind Foundation. We did receive an email from Mr. Berman. He has been in the hospital and he has requested to withdraw his petition.
So we just need to receive and file, is that correct? Okay.
So move.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to receive and file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F2. This is George Voot, 17 Shore Road, and this is for consideration to enact an ordinance to conserve resources by regulating outdoor applications of its synthetic pesticides, insecticides, and fertilizers.
Is Mr. Votes here? No? Okay. We had a recommendation from the Conservation Commission to explore this at greater length. The proposal was, as the clerk just stated, this was enacted, I use that a little bit that way, in Barrington. Our solicitor is also the solicitor in Barrington. I'd reached out to him back a little bit to get some more clarity on this. Diane, I know that we don't have funding for this. Can I assume that may be something in the future, or maybe let me say it like this, that you could keep an eye out if something comes from DEM or other state sources that might coincide with funding a research like this, that we could take a look at that?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
can continue to do that. And just to sort of elaborate a little bit, the Conservation Commission has a policy of really promoting education. And they did, I believe it's in your package, they did do the trifold brochure to try to inform people. So that's really how we've been trying to address that at the moment.
Yeah.
And in essence, it's to use less man-made pesticides, which means getting into the water supply, getting into Bristol Harbor and Narragansett Bay in general, correct?
Right, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the recommendation is, well, actually, that's a good question, is to, and we've already talked about that part of it, be a receive and file, I suppose, or is it a denial? I'm not clear, Mike.
I do a receive and file.
Okay, thank you.
So move.
Second,
Discussion.
I'd just like to say, I think in spirit, like controlling pesticides, insecticides, and fertilizers into our water stream is definitely a good thing. Unfortunately, I don't see how we would be able to regulate this in the town, and be able to really, police it. But I think continued education is the best approach to make sure people know the harms, what they're doing, and if there's an alternative out there, show them an alternative. So it's exactly what you and the chairman, Diane, were discussing. So that's how I feel about it. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that the petitioner knows that we are, and what the Conservation Commission is doing in the brochure and things like that. And maybe stepping up a little bit on getting that information out. Like, I wasn't aware of that, so, I mean, I'm aware of the issue, but not of that brochure. And it would be nice to have those at a lot of, everywhere that people go. Okay, please, thanks.
That's a great point. And from that, I'm just grabbing a couple of pieces off it. For example, selecting drought and disease tolerant grasses, so they need less water to survive those drier times. Things like that. Now, Barrington passed an ordinance, but it was a suggestion. There is no teeth in it, if you will. So they said to the residents, we believe that this is important and take steps not to do it. So that's what they did. All right. Any other discussion?
Yeah, just
Of
Mr.
course.
Chairman, just for the record, I just want to thank the Conservation Commission for all the work that they're doing, and Diane working with them to get the word out about this. I think, certainly there's a certain time of year where maybe this message is best to go out again. So maybe we want to think about reinvigorating our efforts and making sure that we do maybe annual pushes to get some of this information out from a public education standpoint. Then if we find that somehow or some way the public education isn't working, then that's maybe where we move toward considering an ordinance or something like that. But yeah, definitely, you always start with public education, right? That's the way to go.
And I just want to add to that, as the town participates in the community rating system through FEMA, we send out letters annually to folks who live nearby streams, at the dead end roads and where they abut marshes. And we send them a letter reminding them not to dump in the streams because that affects the flooding. But we also include the Healthy Yards brochure in those letters to those targeted homeowners. So it is getting out to the, as a group that we felt would be the most appropriate group to see it, but I'll talk to them about distributing it further.
But I think there's health consequences as well. So, I mean, if people who maybe don't live near any body of water, just so they know, like, what the alternatives might be, things like that.
I think it's also worth to say that the town has taken some tremendous steps. A perfect example is the town beach. We won awards for not the town beach, but right adjacent to it's actually the town beach. But the runoff is cleaned by the multitude of water plants that are there. And this is not a reason to put more pesticides and man-made fertilizers, but not only there are multiple end roads that we've taken steps. I'm thinking of Smith Street and the catches there to keep the water from going into the Kiki, dirty water, I should say. So there's been a lot of steps, but I think there can always be more. Any other discussion from the council?
Even our rain barrel programs, I see we have some of the Parks and Rec folks over here, and the Parks and Rec team over there. Warren is always helping us get some rain barrels out every year. So that's a good way of keeping some of that water on property as well. So.
And I know we've also, Diane, considered as a watershed or water control over at the town common as well. I know Ed came in front of us with a massive design because I didn't realize how much water was running off into our bay on that. So hopefully we can hear more about that as well. Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for including the brochure in our packet. It certainly it made me aware that we do have such a thing, such a brochure, and that quite a bit of effort's already been put into it. And certainly not only made me aware, but also to let people know that we have, such a brochure and where they can pick it up. Something that we may want to consider, which already been stated, is maybe in the springtime, include this in the newspapers and insert into the Bristol Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Outstanding.
good point, Tony.
Any other discussion from the council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Diane.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F3. This is Kelly Zent, 78 State Street. And this is for a request for removal for the limited time parking restriction located in front of the residence.
Is the petitioner here? No, we have a recommendation to move forward with this. This is a 10-minute parking sign, which in fact, talking to the administrator earlier today, the ordinance actually is a 30-minute no parking. And this is adjacent to what used to be, and look at me, Rhode Island, isn't that wonderful? Yes.
It used
Yeah,
to
it
be.
used to be County Cleaners on State Street.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're going way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're going back to our
Way
childhood.
back, was it 3 years? Right? The home that is east of it, so up the hill, if you will, used to be a business and has a 10-minute parking, 10-minute parking sign there, which is no longer needed. So if the council concurs, we can refer to the solicitor to amend the ordinance to reflect that.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F4. This is Jason Pompaselli, 115 Aaron Avenue, and this is in regards for council consideration to approve a letter of no objection to CRMC for reduced setback of approximately 16.5 feet from the property line abutting the town right-of-way on the south side, plat map 65, lot 64, instead of the standard 25-foot requirement.
Based on the positive recommendations from the harbor master, make a motion to approve.
I'll second with some discussion.
Sure.
So there's a motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Discussion. Tony?
I see that we reducing the requirement is 25 feet. However, they are requesting that we settle for 16. Support that. Am I correct on that?
So I know Attorney Rago is here. And you are correct. It's my understanding, and I'm sure Attorney Rago will give us some clarity here, and also Harbor Master Marcelli is here.
Yeah.
It's a float that is being asked.
Yes, it's a float.
And the right of way, so it's not actually in our right of way, it's the setback that is normally required or is required.
Yes, it's coastal resources requirement. It's out in Narragansett Bay. The 25-foot setback is by the coastal resources. We're 8.5 feet over it. So we need that 16.5 setback approval. But if it was a private owner, we just get a letter from a private owner. But being the town of Bristol, we went to the coastal, went to the harbor master, and he approved the recommendation of it. And we have the draft letter for the town council to, if you were to approve it, to have it signed by either town council or the town administrator. I have with me the instructor for the dock, if you need any testimony or better plans to see. I know the plans we had were very hard to read.
But the big thing is there's no interference in the public right of way on
No,
this.
no
at all.
interference at
I mean,
all.
this is,
No,
which was key to me.
yes,
I don't want
think
to
the
speak for my
only-
colleagues, but
The impact would be, and I don't see this as an issue, but the impact would be if the town decided it wanted to build a dock at the end of Erin, and that's just not something that I see the need for or the want for. So but the public right of way is still in existence. It just means that just like in a home, you have to have X amount of setback, X amount of distance on your side yard and backyard from
Yeah.
your neighbor. This is the same thing, just in the water. So
It's actually insignificant. You won't even notice it with the eye. But all the pilings are on now presently with the dock, and that's why we're asking for the relief.
Greg, you gave us a positive recommendation. Is there anything you wanted to add to the council or to the public?
No, it's still entirely in their property lines, so it won't impact us at all in the public right away.
Council?
I think we already made a motion.
We have a
right?
motion and a
Yes,
second, and we
We
were in
did, yeah, we
discussion. I
did.
wanted to see
Right.
if there was any other discussion.
No, they addressed the public right away, and I just wanted to make sure
Right.
we discussed that and we didn't have an issue with it. So it doesn't look like there was any interference, so I'm good.
Perfect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
So-
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rego.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F5. This is Jose Diogo from 212 State Street, and this is a request for accessible parking space in the vicinity of the residence on First School Street. It's first reading.
I make a motion, it constitutes first reading.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The
So
next-
I know he's standing there, just to be clear to
Didn't
him.
know it was you, sir. I have so
Yes.
apologize. Looks like we're moving forward, though. That's good news.
I just have good evening. I just have a little bit of hard of hearing, okay? But I just wanted to know that I would like to have a handicap parking space for me, and I know that there's a couple signs there that's handicap from other people that lives in the neighborhood. But I think I deserve one beside of my gate on the stop sign on the corner of State Street and First School Street. And I would like to have one next to my gate. That way I'll open my gate and I walk right through my walkway. I had a couple of surgeries, and I'm really getting old,
So, Mr. Diogo, you have a very persuasive argument. We're moving forward with it. So I'm joking. We are going to move. This is first reading. So what that means is that at our next meeting, we'll have a second reading if there's anybody that wanted to weigh in one way or another. But our recommendations from our departments and the administrator is to say yes. Tony usually does this. I'm going to do it this time since we're talking, is that just remember that this is for everyone, not just you. Obviously, it would be next to your home or in the vicinity of your home, but it belongs to everyone. Anybody who is a handicapped,
Exactly.
right? Okay.
Exactly,
Sure.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm just using someone else. It's not, nobody lives there. I mean, they passed away, and I'm working over there, but I have to cross the street on First School Street to go to my gate, to my walkway, and to my home. So I think
Which negates the whole idea of having a handicap spot,
yeah,
right? It's
right
supposed
next to
be
my
easy.
house. That
Sure.
way I'll go right to my gate,
So what'll happen from here is this will be on the next meeting, and then this council will vote on it, assuming we move forward with it. Once it gets approved, then work with the administrator and DPW more specifically, and it will be placed in that area, signed and painted correctly. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course.
That means do I have to come here again or what?
No, you were so persuasive, you don't have to if you don't.
All right, then I could stay home and rest.
You could stay.
right?
You can
You
relax.
can watch it from home.
From home, all right.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too as well.
Thank you.
Well, since that came up in a bit of a discussion, I just have one question. Because where he's requesting is from his driveway to the corner of State. Is there ample space there that will fit a handicap spot? I don't know if,
Picture in there.
Yeah, there was.
I
Yeah.
saw that, but seeing the picture, and I walked it over there, but I wasn't sure if we meet all the criteria to have it on that spot.
The words and the verbiage are excellent, and they do not say a specific near pole number 24. They say in the vicinity of the residence on First. So it gives some flexibility. So
Okay.
if we do approve it,
Good.
then DPW and the administrator have the flexibility to find the appropriate place for it.
Could I just ask, so the next one is to remove one at 204 State Street, and he was 212, I think, right? And he said
Mhm.
it's something about across the street. Is that the one that you're using now, I wonder?
No, he's
No?
using on First School Street.
Oh.
There's
No,
actually
you're using the one
two
on.
spots,
There's two spots.
yes.
Only
Thank
because
you.
my
There's
only
two-
point,
There's two
Thank you.
spots. One spot is on First School Street. Okay, and that belongs to someone,
The marshals.
the
that passed
marshal,
away.
but they passed away. Nobody that I know that lives there, they're not using it. And then the next one, it's on the corner on State Street and just on State Street. There's another one there across the street from Mr. Marshall. That used to be his too. So he had two at the time.
so my only point was that I want to make sure that when we approve removing it, that it doesn't get removed before this gentleman's new one gets approved. That's all.
That will, that's a great point, and that'll go along with the motion
Okay.
from 10 minutes ago. Yes.
Okay.
And then, you know what should also do is that take a look at these remaining spots and see if they're
Yeah.
still needed. And if they're not, take steps
Right, yeah.
to remove them, if appropriate.
Right.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F6. Town Clerk Cadero, this is a memo to remove the accessible parking space located at the 204 State Street.
Motion to approve, or motion to send to the solicitor for first draft of first reading. Sorry.
Because what's great
Yes,
is
I
we
don't
do it
think
by
that-
Don't we have to do it
resolution
first
now,
reading?
right?
It's
So,
just first reading, so it
Yeah.
doesn't require an ordinance.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
all right. So I heard that motion. Is
That's
there a
just
second?
for a second.
Good,
Motion made
alright.
by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G1. This is the Auxiliary Harbor Master one-year term set to expire January 2026. And we have the recommendation from Harbor Master Marsili.
Based on the recommendation of the harbor master, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G2. This is the Assistant Harbor Master one-year term set to expire January 2026. We also have another recommendation from Harbor Master Marsili.
Based on the recommendation, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G3. This is the Board of Tax Assessment Review, and this is for two 3-year terms set to expire December 2027. We have one Republican term and one Democratic term, both set to expire. We have, we have two recommendations, one from Eric Hasselhurst, the Chair of the Democratic Town Committee, and with a recommendation for Bob Farris for reappointment. And we also have a recommendation from Tom Carroll, the Chair of the Republican Town Committee, for Anthony Brago for reappointment.
I make a motion based on the two recommendations that we approve both candidates.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G4. This is the Board of Tenant Affairs. This is for two-year expired term set to expire January 2027. We have Anthony Medeiros with interest in reappointment, Paula Ferreira, Arthur Medeiros with interest in reappointment, Paula Ferreira also with interest in reappointment, and Donna Falcoa with interest in appointment.
I make a motion that we reappoint the two candidates, Arthur and Paula. And do we have to set up interviews? No, because there's no openings, correct?
Right, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G5. This is the Bristol Prevention Coalition. This is for a two-year expired term set to expire January 2027. And we have a recommendation from Barbara Palumbo, the Bristol Prevention Coalition Coordinator.
Motion to reappoint.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G6. This is the Conservation Commission, and this is for two 3-year expired terms set to expire December 2027. We have Jay Maciel with interest in reappointment. And we have Leanne Freitas, also with interest in reappointment.
I make a motion that we reappoint both candidates.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item on the agenda is G7. This is the Juvenile Hearing Board. This is for 2 3-year expired terms set to expire December 2027. We have Wayne Marshall with interest in reappointment. We have Scott Axamet, also with interest in appointment. Carla DaCosta, interest in appointment. Joanne Waite, interest in appointment. And Mary Kay Wright, also with interest in appointment. What's not noted on here, and just for the record, Linda DuBois was a member of the Juvenile Hearing Board, and she is not seeking reappointment. So that leaves 2 openings.
I move that we just set up interviews because, I mean, we could reappoint Wayne Marshall now if we wanted to, but the second one, reading all those resumes, a lot of people have good background in child services, social work, things like that. So I think we should talk to them.
So I would like to reappoint Wayne
Yeah.
and also set up interviews as you
So,
just stated.
I move that we reappoint Wayne, since it's tradition that we reappoint people, and then set up the interviews for the other remaining candidates.
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion?
Are we doing the interviews February 5th just before the meeting? Or
Thank you for saying that. I have previously scheduled interviews. Probably I can do it at 6 with the solicitor actually. At 6, so we could probably do 6:30 if everybody's okay with that. See if we can get a couple of interviews in.
Yep.
Everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
February
Yeah.
5th. All right.
So February 5th at 6:30 is what we propose, and see how many candidates we can get in.
Okay, for that date.
For
And
that
if
date.
all of them want to show up, we'll talk then.
Then we'll talk about it, and
Okay.
we'll probably have to spread it over 2 council
Okay.
meetings.
The next item on the agenda is G8. This is the Mount Hope Trust. This is 1 2-year expired term set to expire December 2026. And we have Teresa Doherty with interest in reappointment.
Motion to reappoint?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G9. We have the Newport and Bristol County Convention and Visitor Bureau bylaw change to affect an end term date. And the current end term date is September 1st, 2026, and they're requesting it to be changed to June 30th, 2026.
So what did they actually?
know.
Yeah, so
I'm
the-
on-
I think it's June 30th. It says the term will now expire June 30th, 2027. Sorry, June 30th, 2027 instead of
It's actually
26.
2026. So there was some recent
Okay.
changes to the state law on the convention committee. And for them to make those changes to reflect that, they had a review of their bylaws, and the current membership expired in September. And for them to be on the fiscal year would require them to change that to June. The year 2027, that's in the letter, that's an incorrect date because the law actually states that term for Bristol expires in 2026.
6.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they're asking for us, what
It's
action?
just
are
to
they-
accept the term change, because right now Steve Brigidi is appointed to that position until September 1st, 2026. It would change his appointment from September 1st to June 30th.
Okay.
No, because I read through it too, and I came up
Yeah.
with the same result. I was looking at 27 as the date, but after you explain it, okay, yeah.
So we need a motion.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks
To
for explaining
adjust-
that because I was reading the letter and I
had
was
to
like,
call
wait a
to-
minute, it
I had
says
to call to
27.
find out.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So we need a
Right.
motion to adjust Stephen Brigidy's term, so it expires on June 30th, 2026, to coincide with the updated Rhode Island laws. How's that?
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by
Tony got it.
Mary, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G10. This is the North and East Burial Grounds Commission. This is 1 5-year unexpired term set to expire January 2029, and 2 5-year expired terms set to expire January 2030. We have Kathleen Moran with a letter of resignation. We also have Susan Church, also with a letter of resignation. We have Herman Martin with interest in reappointment. We have Jennifer Olet with interest in being elevated to full member. And we have Shirley Mansiri with interest in appointment.
Okay, so I make a motion that we accept the 2 resignations with a letter of thank you for their service. reappoint Herman,
Mhm.
elevate Jennifer, and set a meeting, an interview for Shirley.
What happened to Sue Church? She wants to be reappointed, doesn't she?
No, letter
No.
of resignation.
She's
Oh,
resigning.
okay, sorry.
There's two resignations right there.
All right, there's motions. There a second?
Second,
Discussion.
so so for Shirley, we'll just set up an interview for that same night,
Sometime in June, I think.
June, okay.
I'm joking. Probably the meeting after February 5th, I would
Yep.
say. Yeah.
Perfect.
Any other
So are
discussion?
we gonna nail
I-
that date down at a later time?
So it would seem to me that on February 5th, we're probably going to get at least 2 interviews, hopefully 3. After that, I think a half an hour is pushing it for more than that. And then we can have both Shirley and the remaining candidates come to our
26th
26 meeting. Thank
Okay.
you.
at
Does that make sense?
6:30 or 6?
We probably do 6:15 if everybody's okay with that.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
I would, but I think it'll be wise, to give it a little more time.
Okay.
I was gonna
And
say, I think we can make the motion that it can be either February 5th or at the convenience of all parties, and then we can kind of figure that out.
Yeah, with the intention of the council meeting at 6:30 on the 5th and 6:15 on the, what did you say it was, please?
26.
26, thank you.
And it doesn't really impact the board, excuse me. It doesn't impact the board because they'll have a full membership, you know.
That's right.
All
right.
We have some good questions.
So, yeah. We're all
My name
set.
is Herman
It's a lively
Martin.
board.
I'm on the Northeast Burial Grounds. I just was curious because there's 1 5-year term and 2 5-year expired terms. So 1 will expire in 2029 and 2 will expire in 2030. Who has which position? Since there are, 5 members and 3 of us are being, 2 of them reappointed, who gets the 2029 and who gets the January 2030?
I would say, if I'm to point that out, because Kathy resigned, and so did Susan, I would assume, and you being elevated, I would say that you would take the 29th,
Well,
right?
Yours should go to 20, actually would
I
go
think the
to,
reappointment should go to
2030.
30,
yeah,
Yeah.
2030.
Reappointment should go to
Right.
2030.
Okay, I just.
Are you ready to be
clarification.
committed that long?
Well,
That's a good answer.
committed is
you.
a good word to use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You brought it up.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G11. This is the Personnel Board. This is 1 4-year expired term expiring December 2028. And we have Renee Weatherland with interest in reappointment.
Motion to reappoint?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion?
Yes, just briefly, I know it's not under our prerogative. Dick DeVault served under the administrator's prerogative, and he has stepped away, so we certainly appreciate his service. I'm sure he's already stated that to him, but coming from us, I think it's important as a member, a volunteer on one of the boards. So,
Thank you for saying that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item is G12. This is the Recreation Board. This is 2 3-year expired terms set to expire February. It says 2025. That's a typo. It should be February 2027. And 1 first alternate unexpired position set to expire February 2027. We have Diane Davis with interest in reappointment. We have Carl Antonovich, also with interest in reappointment. We have Kevin Manuel with interest in elevating to full member. And we have Timothy Palmer with interest in appointment.
I make I don't know, Mrs. Davis is here. Do you want to be reappointed again? Okay, so with that, I make a motion that we reappoint Mrs. Davis and Carl as well, and elevate Kevin
Second.
And set up interviews?
Set up
Yes.
interviews for Tim?
for 10.
And then Mary seconded that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And Tim would go to the 26th, the February 26th meeting?
I think we're into March now. to be honest.
Probably.
We'll move it along. Budget.
Yeah, we could do that.
The next item on the agenda is G13. This is special constable, private investigators, matrons, and retiree officers. And this is for a term to expire in 1 year, January 2026. And we have the recommendation from the town administrator and the chief of police.
Based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
I don't know, there's some
I don't know.
characters here that I'm not sure we should reappoint.
Tony's
Yeah.
pointing out that this council is one of the
Right.
special constables, and
Well,
he's
I'm
concerned.
still waiting to see what you do after all these years, because I've never been called into action for this.
Direct sidewalk.
You don't
traffic.
want to.
Be careful what you ask.
You
Mary, now
don't
that you,
want to.
Mary, now that you said it, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Get that 3 a.m. phone call,
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
Pull you aside
No.
and swear you in, right? So,
Yes.
okay. Any other discussion? Did we already vote on that? If we.
Yes, we did.
Outstanding.
Did we?
Yes.
All right.
I didn't object. I was just making a statement.
The next item on the agenda is G14. We have the tree warden. This is one-year expired term set to expire January 2026. And we have Stephen Saraceno with interest in reappointment. And we also have a recommendation from the town administrator.
Based on the town administrator's recommendation, I make a motion that we approve the appointment.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion?
Just briefly, I think Steve has really provided great service, as stated already by the administrator, and I had the experience of working with him when I was administrator, so he goes way back to 1905. So just keep going.
Yeah.
Well stated. I think I agree with you. I think Steve does a great job. I also, when I was talking with the administrator earlier, the term on this is a 1-year term. It is certainly something that we should look at the next charter review, because this should be a 2-year term at least. It doesn't make sense that it would be a 1-year term. I know it probably did in the past, but no longer. Can't change it. It has to be a charter change, but we can change it when we review that.
Not only that, it's also, does the state weighs in on that as well. So I'm not sure if it's just a charter or also a state.
That's a good question. I know our charter
Yes.
states it, but
Right.
it'll be interesting to find out.
But
Something that we should consider.
I concur with you that a 1-year term, it's,
It should probably get moved up to like the organizational meeting when we
Your
appoint. other
microphone's not on.
people. Oh, it should get moved up to the organizational meeting so that, when we appoint other people like municipal judges, other people like that, that person would run with that council.
Seems very relevant. I
Yeah.
agree. I like that. Any other discussion?
I just want to say, I can't believe 7 years has gone by with Saraceno, and what I hear from the residents, excellent customer service. He's fair. Not only that, he really cares about the diversity of the trees in town, which I think we are a tree canopy town, aren't we? Also?
Tree City.
What's that?
Tree City.
Tree City. So he's a big part of that. And so hopefully, he keeps up the good work, which I'm sure he will.
Outstanding. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
The next item on the agenda is G15. This is the zoning board. This is 1 5-year unexpired term set to expire March 2025. And we have a memo from Town Clerk Cadero for the zoning board, and this is in regards to the passing of Mr. David Simos, a member of the zoning board. We also have a letter of interest to become a full member from George Duwar, and we also have a letter of interest for Kimberly Teves to be elevated from second alternate to first alternate.
I make a motion, we elevate George Duarte, with regret, obviously, with the passing. Elevate George and appoint Kimberly Teves as first alternate.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Discussion?
Well, I think we have to add that we'll advertise for
Right.
the second alternate.
Thank
Right,
you.
right,
That's
right.
where I was.
Yep.
Super.
Perfect.
You know,
Okay. So as stated, in addition to that, with advertising for that open position.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is G16. This is the Board of Fire Engineers. This is 1 year expired term set to expire January 2026. And we have recommendation from the town administrator and the fire chief.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G17. This is the Bristol Christmas Festival for 1 year, expired term set to expire February 2026. We did receive a correspondence from Dave Scarpino requesting that the matter be continued to the next meeting so we can revise the membership list.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to continue to our February 5th meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And this is the moment, we just went through all kinds of reappointments and discussion about advertising for new board members and commission members. I say this at every single time that we talk about this because I mean it. This council very much appreciates the time, effort, and energy. Some of those people are right out here right now. So to you, we say thank you. To all the boards and commission members, we say thank you. And a reminder that we have an upcoming ethics training that this council wants to make sure that all of our boards and commission members go to. Along with that, it was this council's wish and my personal wish to have a training for Robert's Rules meetings. And that is not to become robots. It is to better run meetings. So the expectations of not only the board members, but of the public are met. Everybody understands the process, gets their voice heard, and ultimately, whatever the decision is, it's clear, it's well thought out, and we move forward as a team. So if you are a chair or a vice chair, you will be staying after the ethics to get that extra training. Anyone else who wants to stay to be part of that, you are always more than welcome. And ethics is a requirement, not a requirement just for this town, but for the world, right? We could all do with a little bit more ethics. So this council truly believes in that. More importantly, we believe in our boards and commissions, and we appreciate the time and effort that you give, and this council says thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I1. We have Director of the Community Development Williamson, and this is in regards to the proposed Mount Hope High School drainage maintenance.
So Diane, you are speaking for and with the planning board, is that correct?
I
on
am
this one?
speaking for, the chairman of the planning board had another commitment tonight, so he could not attend. And he said I could speak to it. The memo that I provided you is the planning board action that they took at their meeting in October when they reviewed the master plan for the Mount Hope High School. The plan for the school, when it will be built, has a considerable amount of drainage that is necessary. And we're particularly concerned in that watershed that that drainage be maintained well. And so the planning board passed a motion to ask the council serving as the joint finance committee if they could please make sure when the budget comes forward that there's money, obviously once the school is built and the drainage is in place, that there's money to annually maintain that drainage so that it continues to work the way it's designed. So this is just really an informational motion, I think, for the council from the planning board, so you are aware that the school committee should be asking for this money and they support that so that the plan works as designed.
So Diane, have you sent a similar letter to the school committee? Like when they start preparing the budgets? I mean, we don't need it this year, it's down the road, but.
I will do that. I will follow up. They were at the planning board meeting. The planning board specifically asked them if they were intending, to include it in the budget. Obviously, they were. So they just wanted to kind of pass the message along to the council. But I can certainly follow up directly with the letter to them too.
And then we could also have it added to the JFC agenda. That way it can be brought up and it can be discussed, and just make sure we just start to forecast what we're going to need to put aside for money now rather
Yeah.
than,
So-
later.
5 minutes before.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
And when this letter goes to the school committee, please, from the council and from you and from the planning board.
Okay.
And we're going to take a motion here just in a moment to support this. It's really important to say, though, is that the Joint Finance Committee cannot compel the school to spend, we can't tell them to use X dollars to do X things. The Joint Finance Committee does not have that control. They only can approve the bottom line. But that discussion can be very clearly said and heard. So, and I don't know of anyone on the school committee, the superintendent or others, that would put our kids in harm's way now and down the road by not keeping this up to date. So,
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add, for the sake of the conversation, I know that Steve has been going to some of the building and facility committee meetings. I know Tim has attended some of those as well. And of course, this is really important to make sure that the maintenance of any kind of stormwater or drainage system is being budgeted for. During some of those meetings, we have made sure to ask that they are considering that in their calculations as they're preparing for the new school and everything like that. I know that the landscape architects are putting together a maintenance plan for the school. So I know that we were assured that something like that would happen. And then, of course, I think that this is a wise step is to ensure that the money, when it comes time, is budgeted for. So just wanted that for the record. So.
Thank you.
And Diana, I know on my Saturday morning breakfast, I've been approached by a couple of residents from the area. And I know that you've met with them in the area because they asked me, what are you going to do about it? I says, what am I going to, I'm going to give you a shovel and a hose and, we're going to take care of things. No, and on a serious note, I says, the person is speak with you, but they should be attending the meetings, the construction meetings if they have concerns and express that. So, but I appreciate the time that you've, taken the time to meet with those folks in the neighborhood.
Yeah, for anybody interested, there's one tomorrow, I believe, at 8:30. So
where?
Reynolds School.
Thank you. So it would seem to me that this council could make a motion similar to that we support what was presented in front of us. So I wouldn't just go with a receive and file, and that we're requesting that the Diane pen a letter with the council's name on it, along with hers and obviously the administrators supporting this and asking for continued focus on this.
So moved.
And we can,
Second.
Discussion?
and Chairman, we can add it to the JFC agenda. That way, when she's doing her presentation, she can touch on it. I understand we can't
No, no.
ask them to spend money on it. We can
I
ask
think
them
that's
to
an-
talk about it. So,
Outstanding idea.
okay.
But we can put it on this agenda, like in this February, even
This
though it's not going to
February.
be needed for a while, just so
They-
like everybody has it in their
That's
head.
exactly my point.
Right,
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
yep, that's good.
You got it, Mary.
Did you get that whole motion?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I2. We have Director of Community Development Williamson. Request for authorization to allocate up to $541,000 in town funds for the Brown property acquisition on Tower Road, pending the award of a grant.
Diane, just a quick summary here, I think is, please,
Quick summary. So this is the Brown property.
which is
um,
outstanding that we're
which is
getting.
right. So we are receiving a federal grant. We do not have the grant award paperwork yet. So we cannot close on the property and acquire it until we get the grant award paperwork, which we are waiting for. I'm in contact with them and we're just diligently sitting by the email waiting for the notice to come. When it does come, we want to close quickly. So working with Carl, because this money would be fronted and then reimbursed by the federal grant when we get it, we're asking for the council to authorize that to happen so that we can be ready to close when we get the grant award.
It's my understanding from talking to the administrator that we do have a preliminary award letter, correct? Did I misunderstand that? If I did, I apologize.
No, we do have a preliminary award letter. It's a little bit complicated because the award letter came at the
Like you
end.
may have won $1 million, is that what you mean?
No, so, the award came at the end of the federal fiscal year. And so because it came so close to the end of the federal fiscal year, they didn't have time to process it. And now we're in the new federal fiscal year. So we just have to now wait for the paperwork to be resent,
So you have, but you have like
re-awarded.
a letter that is like of intent that you guys are gonna get the money, you just need
Correct.
to wait for the official
Correct,
documents, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. That's, Mary said it better than I did.
That was outstanding. So what do you need for a motion, Diane, please?
So we're asking that the council authorize the use of the funds on hand in the amount of $541,000 to be reimbursed with the federal grant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We are all looking forward to that being available to all. So
Mhm.
It's huge.
it's huge.
Thank you, Diane.
The next item on the agenda is I3. This is the approval of authorization of vote and clerk certification for the purchase of the Brown University land on Tower Road. And this is to include ratifying action of purchase and sales agreement, conservation easement with DEM, acceptance of the U.S. Forestry Service grant, and execution and delivery of documents required by the U.S. Forest Service and/or RIDEM.
So if you got a so moved from a council member, that would cover things?
I
I'd say
would
so
absolutely
moved.
get that.
So moved.
Outstanding. So I'm going to take that from Mary and seconded by Tim. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is J1. This is bid 1055. This is the rehabilitation for reuse of the former Wally School to create a community resource and senior center. We had the bid opening today at noon. We received 5 bids. The first bid was with a base price amount of $894,775. Do you want me to read the alternates that are listed on there?
I don't think you need to.
No,
Okay.
I would not.
Okay,
That's
the
fine. We have
Collins-
it here.
Yeah, the Collins Construction
Did
Company.
somebody requested that?
No.
Oh, I thought somebody
No, we
from
just-
the audience said.
The Collins Construction Company, Inc., and that was the base price amount of $924,021. We have Marin Construction Company, Inc., with the base price amount of $1,412,000.
Bless
We
you.
have E.W. Berman, Inc., with the base price of $1,239,000. And we also have Westway Construction, Inc., with the base price of $1,450,200.
And this is specifically for the inside or exterior? I know there's exterior work on Wally going on now.
Mr.
Um,
Administrator?
Sorry,
It's mainly the interior.
just the interior. This is the interior bids. Great. Thank you.
I make a motion, we refer this to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Yep.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion?
Gonna be
Yep.
beautiful when it's done, isn't it?
That's good discussion.
Oh, yeah.
It will be. And the availability of not only for that, but for when you're on the town common, that there will be a possibility of bathrooms there. My goodness, magical stuff. So little leaguers, pickleballers, I mean, it's basketballers,
Oh,
you fill in the blank. Noble tree lookers. Haven't heard that one in a while. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you.
Noble tree looker.
That was a Halsey Harrishoff line.
I
I
like
don't know what made
Okay.
it more noble. I think it had a crown on the top of it or something.
The next item on the agenda is J2. This is bid 1056, Stage and Sound Bristol 4th of July Concert Series 2025. We had the bid opening today at noon. We received 1 bid. The bid was from Audio Solutions in the amount of $59,800.
I just have a question before, or do you want a motion this first?
Yes, please.
Motion, I make a motion that we refer to the town administrator in the 4th of July committee to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Discussion.
Yes, I'm just assuming, when I first read this, I'm going, are we putting something back up again? But I think this is just the stage that's set up at the Independence Park, am I correct in that?
Yeah, this is for
Yeah.
the concerts.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
all right, thank you, that clarifies it. Because at first I thought, are we back on the construction for something
No.
that I missed? Not, okay.
It's a lot of money.
Not
It's a
kidding.
lot of money.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is J3. This is Town Administrator Contente, and this is in regards to an interdepartment line item transfer from salaries Town Hall Complex to salaries Department of Public Works.
Mr. Administrator?
Unfortunately, our custodian at the Byfield School, a part-time custodian, is retiring, Joe Almeida. So we talked with the building manager and with DPW, and the town hall complex custodian is going to be doing that 4 hours overtime a week to get us through the rest of the year. So I'd like to transfer the money from town hall complex to the DPW overtime line to get through the end of this budget.
So move.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. As stated, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is K1. This is the Bristol County Water Authority, the Tri-Town Monthly Report for December 2025. 24, sorry.
Motion to receive and file?
Second, but I would like to make a couple of comments.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion.
Yes, glad to see that the Pawtucket agreement has moved forward and it's been approved, you know, to provide that redundancy for us, well, for the county, actually. Let me see, design.
And Tony, the dam, the Kikamura Dam's almost removed,
Yes.
which has gone quickly.
And the repurposing of the building, to see the interest that all these folks have. I know, it's okay, Mr. Chairman. I'm with you, however.
One day we will regret that.
Yes,
And it'll be
But-
like how I'm quoting Halsey right now. Somebody one day will go, he said it. He said it. So, anyway.
no, I hear you loud and clear, I do. Unfortunately, we've moved in a whole different direction by
Sure
now.
have.
But it's interesting to see, you know, the amount of interest, you know, on the building and to repurpose the building. So that was very good. The other thing was the paving that we benefited from, and which is something that we've always talked about. You cut the road, you fix it. And they obviously would benefit from them paving, you know, benefit from the water improvement on the main, you know, capacity, better pressure but specifically on State Street, where they actually paved from curb to curb as well. I'm done.
That's good stuff. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
So the next is the executive session.
And that motion would be to convene into executive session pursuant to 4246(5)(a)(2) relative to potential litigation, as well as 4246(5)(a)(5) relative to consideration related to the acquisition or lease of real property for public purposes.
So move.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? This council will now go into executive session, finish the meeting here in public session, but we will end the broadcast. So we say goodnight to everyone. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you for attending the meeting this evening.
Mhm.